Awesome. Perfect. Do you not want me to talk right now? Do you want me to stay quiet while you're doing your introduction, or what should I do? Okay. So you just, whenever you need me to talk, just let me know. Yeah. Perfect. All good.
Welcome along live on YouTube. Press the one buttons again. I haven't done a show for a while, have I? And I'm always pressing the one buttons. And this is the second show of the 2-night event. Last night we kicked it off with Jack Taylor, and tonight we've got another broadcaster. I'm going to call him a broadcaster / reporter. All the way from the East Coast of America. I like another person on the East Coast from Citrus TV. Either a reporter / entertainment reporter or director / producer, whatever that role entails. It's a very busy role, I have to say. But I'm delighted to welcome Liam Crowley or Crowley. Welcome to my show. Apologies for the mess of pronunciation there.
Oh, you're all good. Thank you so much for having me on, Ed. I'm very excited to do this.
Yes, well, as we're saying off the air, we've been trying to do this for months, trying to fit this in for months, and you said to me when we showed this in a few months ago or weeks ago, however long ago it was, you said today was your only day you were free, but that was before all what's happening on around the world. So it looks like you're free now every day at the moment.
Yeah, the world was a different place when we scheduled this interview. Honestly, it's really gone completely 180. Yeah, this was my week off. This was my spring break from the semester. I was planning on doing a couple trips. Those all kind of got canceled because of everything going on with COVID-19. And then I was planning on going back to Syracuse, back to school, resuming my duties as entertainment director and reporter and all that. And that all kind of got shell-shocked by this whole global pandemic. So it's been weird to have just consecutive days off, being able to sleep in till noon. But it's been refreshing. I'm trying to look on the bright side with all this.
Yeah. Well, that's everything we can do here, really. And so, for anyone who wants to tune into this now or later on, the topic of today's show is, of course, pro wrestling. And I like a bit of sport as well. We will get to some sport as well, but it's mostly be about pro wrestling and such. So I want to talk to you firstly about then. Let's talk some sport firstly, and how big of a sports fan you are. I know you're a Patriots fan. That's the thing we're not going to be agreeing on in this episode because you're a Patriots fan. And I'm so happy now that for the first time in history, you might not even get into playoffs now this season, if there's a season now. And, of course, my favourite team is, of course, as is on the show a lot of the time, the Las Vegas Raiders, the best football team in history, might actually do something now this year with no Tom Brady involved with the Patriots. Of course, I bet that's not really synced in for you yet. That Tom Brady's now gone to the Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, are you quite sad? Are you really a Tom Brady fan? Are you going to follow him now to Tampa, or are you going to stick with your Patriots?
Yeah, Ed, I'm going to be honest. I'm a Tom Brady fan before I'm a Patriots fan. This guy is my hero. I've always said I'm a broadcaster at the end of the day. And my dream interview, my dream subject to sit down with and have a 30-minute conversation with is Tom Brady. He's always been like that. He's been an inspiration to me my entire life. I was born in the year 2000, and that was the year he started playing for the Patriots. So this now being 2020, and obviously the NFL season, it's kind of up in the air with the whole pandemic going on, but if everything goes back to normal, we have an NFL season this year, Tom Brady starting for another team will be legitimately the first time in my entire life that he's not under center for the Patriots. And it stinks. It really does. I was talking with my friends from home about this. Obviously, being in college, I have a lot of friends from around the globe now. So some of them at college just kind of make fun of me for the whole Tom Brady situation because they're not Patriots fans. But my friends from home, from Boston, really empathize with everything going on, and they always say now it's like our childhood is like over because this shift of Brady leaving, it kind of represents a greater picture that, this is the one constant I've had in my life since I was too young to remember. I remember watching him. I remember that game in 2008 against the Giants when we lost in the last seconds. I believe the score was 17-14 with David Tyree. I remember the 3 Super Bowls in the 2010s, the Seahawks, the Falcons, and the Rams. I remember those games like they were yesterday. And Tom Brady has taught me perseverance, leadership, grit, how to stay focused and stay positive in the worst of situations. I mean, this guy was down 28-3 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, 17 minutes left of gameplay, and he was able to stage a 31-0 run and come back. Like, you got to respect that. Even if you hate the Patriots, hate Tom Brady, you can't deny this guy's greatness. And I understand why he left. The the three figureheads in New England are Kraft, Robert Kraft, the owner, Bill Belichick, the coach, Tom Brady, the quarterback. And Brady wanted to prove that he can do this by himself. He doesn't need the owner and he doesn't need the coach to guide him. He wanted to prove he can do it on his own. So the fact that that's kind of his mentality in the twilight of his career, by all means, I respect him for doing what he wanted to do, not giving in to just finishing in New England like all of New England wanted him to. And yeah, it breaks my heart, but I will get over it. It's still kind of weird for now. I was very sad when I woke up to that news, but I will definitely 100% be rooting for him as a Buccaneer. That will not change.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to when his career is over. He is now 40, don't forget. So he's in his 40s. 42. I see.
42.
He's, and of course you've. I was trying to find the picture because you posted a picture on your Instagram a few months ago. Not a few months ago, maybe about 2 months ago, when you were there in person watching Tom Brady, and you got either a smile or a nod or something there. But
yep.
I want to show all the viewers right now at home, if I can. Let's see if I can do this, because sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. So please do bear with me. That's the wrong button. Is it this button? No, that's. I don't know why is it doing that? Oh, I see. If I do that, you should be able to see this picture on the screen. This is from Liam Crowley's Instagram account. It was with what's this?
Julian Edelman?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to click on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yes. It means tell me, how did that picture come about? And you were quite there, showing your personality there on your Instagram account, because
yep.
I bet you had some words with the people at Citrus TV. I bet after that picture surfaced.
Oh yeah. So that was Syracuse was hosting UNC in the final home game of the basketball year, and there were rumors all week that there were going to be celebrities at the game. And then the day before the game, the heavy rumor was Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, and Jimmy Fallon. And I kept thinking, no way. Syracuse is in the middle of nowhere in New York. This was a nothing game. Both teams were not going to make the tournament. Even if there was a March Madness, there's no way Syracuse or UNC would have got in. But then it got confirmed. And I didn't have a ticket at the time, so I rushed and looked on all over the Facebook groups to try and find a ticket. I got one, and I decided, you know what? This is my best chance to ever have Brady notice me, because at home, if I'm wearing a Tom Brady jersey in Boston, I'm one of 1,000 people wearing the same thing. If I'm wearing a Tom Brady jersey at a Syracuse basketball game, I'm going to be one of a couple people, if any. So I'm in a sea of orange shirts with my navy blue Tom Brady jersey on, and I spend the whole game trying to get his attention. He's sitting courtside. I'm behind one of the hoops, 15 rows back, but enough that he could see me if he noticed. Kept waving. Eventually, Edelman nudges Brady, and he points up to me. And then Brady gives me a slight little nod, and it was enough that my friends around me noticed. I wasn't making it up. They all turned to me and were like, "Dude, holy crap! That just happened." And I was like, "Okay, I have witnesses now." Tom Brady noticed me. It was really cool. Then at the end of the game, I was gonna try to get a picture with him. I was very jealous of a lot of my friends had courtside passes because they were there for media. They were there for Citrus TV, other media organizations. And I was very jealous because I obviously couldn't go on the court. I was there as a fan, not as a reporter. But then I went over to the tunnel where all the celebrities, excuse me, were going to be exiting. And Brady was kind of head down, not stopping for anyone. I get it. He's a big celebrity. He's almost bigger than the game. But Edelman, Julian Edelman, Patriots wide receiver, one of my favorite players, very genuine guy. I haven't met him before, but I've seen him in person, and he always stops for fans. Always getting the crowd pumped up. He's a Patriot for life. Everyone's saying that he's going to leave with Brady. I don't see it. The Patriots legitimately turned his career around in a shorter time than Brady in terms of his tenure. And Edelman stopped. He said, "Let's effing go." I was like, can we get a picture? He said, absolutely. Turned the phone around, selfie. The one I posted on my Instagram, a friend of mine was lucky enough to get a candid picture of us taking a picture, and I thought that one was cooler. But I do have the selfie up on my Twitter. And yeah, it was a really cool moment because it was like validation for standing my ground. I'm a Patriots fan. You express it. You don't like the Patriots. A lot of people don't like the Patriots. They're 6-time Super Bowl champions. They're a dynasty. They've dominated the NFL for 2 decades. You are absolutely right to despise them if you're not from New England. But they're my home team. I was born and raised in Boston. I only root for my hometown teams. And to walk into the Carrier Dome, the home of the Syracuse Orange, wearing a Brady jersey, legitimately getting booed by my classmates as I walk in because they hate the Patriots. But standing my ground and then getting that picture with Edelman, it was validation, and it was a really special moment. I had never felt like just pure joy like that in such a long time. It's very rare, so it was very special.
Yeah, absolutely. And you say the Patriots dominated for 2 decades. I'm going to disagree with you there again. I don't think they have dominated for 2 decades. More like 1 decade, and that was the 2010s. Okay. And you say as well, Tom Brady joined the Patriots in 2000. I was born in the 90s. So I was around before Tom Brady was at the Patriots, and I'm again still around after Tom Brady's left the Patriots. So there we go, people. I'm older than Tom Brady was at the Patriots, and I'm older as well because he's now left them again. So it's a great year to be alive. The year where Tom Brady officially announced today that he signed for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We can't wait until he gets hit and then gets stretched out the game, and then we can then bring in a fresher, a younger quarterback who deserves the spot at the Buccaneers. Just like at the Patriots, I wonder who's going to replace the guy who's going to be the top man at the Patriots now, since there's no more Tom Brady hogging the spotlight for the Patriots. So I am looking forward to that. It's a bit like wrestling. It's like having the Undertaker, who's now in his late 50s, still hogging that spotlight. Right, Triple H, he's the COO, and you still see him now trying to do all sorts of different things, like on last Friday's episode of SmackDown, where he was doing the cameraman work, he was doing commentary, which was much better than having Corey Graves on commentary, I have to say. It was much more relief and much more of a breather. I wish we could replace Corey Graves with someone much better, but hey-ho, we have Triple H instead. What do you think of the no crowds going on in the WWE? Do you think that's a good move for them, or do you think they should postpone all their shows until there is able to have a crowd in both the WWE and in AEW? Because AEW, of course, did the same thing on Wednesday. Please don't give any spoilers because that does not air till tonight here in the UK. So Toronto gives any spoilers from Wednesday's show because it's being shown here tonight on ITV4 here for our UK viewers here of AEW. But there you go. That's my question to you.
Yeah, man, it's weird. I won't spoil anything from Dynamite this week, but it's very strange. The way that wrestling works, the hard thing is, with the NBA, they can go on pause and then take a chunk of their off season that they were going to dedicate to, free agency and resting up. They can just dedicate that to finishing out the season. And then if they want, they can just shorten next season ahead of time. What they can't do with the NBA is they can't just end the season now, then go to playoffs, because a lot of teams we're mentally going into this season knowing it's 82 games. So you could shorten next season. I think everything would be fine. Wrestling doesn't have an off season. That's the most difficult part. The idea that they could just stop everything and delay everything. If WrestleMania were to take place in June, then you have to push the other pay-per-views back. Then you have to push SummerSlam taking place in December. Summer is in the name. You can't push it back. You know what I mean? So what I would have done is I would have postponed WrestleMania but canceled the shows in between. So say you have Mania and SummerSlam back to back. so be it. I do not want to see a world where WrestleMania is in front of no fans. It's weird, Ed. It's really weird. Raw and SmackDown this past week, at first, the first 10 minutes, I was kind of entertained because it was something new, but it gets old real fast. They say for decades and decades, the biggest WWE superstar is you, the WWE universe. And I always was like, okay, you're just pandering to the fans. But they're kind of right. Without fans and without that reaction, without chants, without cheering, without pops, it's not the same. It's a different world. It's boring. You could be having the greatest match in the world, and without that crowd tension going 1, 2, 2, no, oh, he kicked out. Without that, you lose some of the gravity. And AEW, I will say, did a much better job than WWE did because they had their locker room in the crowd, so at least they had some sort of noise going on. I thought MJF was hilarious. He was chanting this isn't a spoiler, the Lucha Bros had a match and MJF was chanting like, let's go mask guys. And I thought, that was funny because, he's a heel. He's playing up to that cocky, brash, arrogant tool that he plays on TV. But it's weird. It's not what I want to see. WrestleMania this year was going to have so many good moments. I truly believe McIntyre was going to win the title. Baszler was going to win the title, I think. The Fiend was going to defeat John Cena. And without that, crowd noise, it's not... I don't know. It's not the wrestling I want to watch. It's good that we still have some sort of weekly entertainment going on, but without fans, it's almost like I'd rather just wait to have it later than to have Mania this year and have so many special moments. Edge has come back after 9 years, and you're telling me his first singles match back is going to be in front of an empty arena? It dampers my excitement. I think I understand the mentality of the show goes on, but man, it's tough, and it's not something I particularly enjoy. I'll say it.
Yeah, and as you just said a minute ago about delaying WrestleMania to June or something, that would be much better, it'd be much warmer as well if they did that, but they're not going to do that. And as you said as well, by delaying the other events, what they could have just done was actually push them other events forward. So instead of having WrestleMania this month, they could have had another pay-per-view instead. Maybe, like a Backlash or the No Mercy, whatever pay-per-view show they do. It always changes every flipping year anyway. But they could have one of them smaller pay-per-views in the way. But hey-ho, it did not happen. They are going to do it behind closed doors. And the other thing I don't like about it as well is it's going to be over 2 nights. So it's not just going to be one night, which will usually happen every year. It's going to be over 2 nights, both 4th and 5th. And again, we're going to have Kugowski, the host of it now as well. And he's not even apparently not even signed with WWE as of yet, but he's going to be hosting this year's WrestleMania. Many people are not happy about him being on both nights, but he is the host after all. So are you happy that Growski won't be a part of the WWE now? Because we do know he's got a lot of back issues and neck injuries and such. So I wonder how that will play into it. But you're an expert of that field, so let's see your opinions and thoughts about that.
Yeah, well, I love Rob Gronkowski to death. He's a New England Patriot for life. He was drafted by the Patriots, retired with the Patriots.
I thought Tom Brady could have done.
Yeah, honestly. Very charismatic guy. Don't get me wrong. He is a character. He's not one of those athletes that, plays the game and then goes to the post-game interviews and is very monotone, like, oh yeah, we had a good game. Like, no, he's energetic. He lets his character show out, and he's universally loved. With everyone hating the Patriots, I don't think anyone really hates Rob Gronkowski. They're all fans of him. But Ed, I will say, I'm sick and tired of the athletes going to WWE and then just magically being great at wrestling. Like Cain Velasquez, I get it. He has fighting background, but the fact that he gets a WWE title shot in his first match, that kind of stuff just breaks kayfabe so absurdly. And Of course, wrestling is scripted. It's staged. I get it. But I want to suspend my disbelief. And when you bring in other athletes and just make them like, if Gronkowski comes in and he's able to squash who's a veteran on the show. Let's
Goldberg?
Eric Young. Goldberg. Well, he's like kind of like invincible right now. If Eric Young gets squashed by Rob Gronkowski, he is a jobber right now, for lack of a better term. But Eric Young has been wrestling for decades. So if you're going to try to tell me that Rob Gronkowski, NFL star, can just come into WWE, train for 2 to 3 months, and then just beat guys that have done this their whole life, it's hard for me to believe. I think he's a great personality. I would love to see him as a manager, as a mouthpiece for someone, but I don't like this idea that he's going to come in and have 2 to 3 minute squash matches. Because the difference between him and like Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Brock Lesnar, well, Brock Lesnar wrestled first, but Rousey and Baszler were MMA fighters first. Matt Riddle was an MMA fighter first. And they transitioned so well because they've been practicing fighting their entire lives. Rob Gronkowski is a football player. Roman Reigns was a football player, but it took him, when he was in the Performance Center in like 2012, I don't think anyone really got behind Roman Reigns as a great wrestler for a couple years. I think he's a top-tier wrestler now, but it's been 8 years. Rob Gronkowski is not going to turn into a 5-star match machine in a couple months. So I think he's a valuable asset to have on the product as a personality, but I don't like this idea of Rob Gronkowski versus like Brock Lesnar for the title. Also, like you mentioned about the injury history, Rob Gronkowski, after a couple years in the NFL, people started to realize, man, this guy's really, really good. He's like 6'7", 200 something pounds. He's a monster. We cannot one-on-one guard him because he'll just stiff arm you and he'll take it to the end zone. We need to 2-on-1 guard him. We need to 3-on-1 guard him. We need to put a spy on Rob Gronkowski. And because of that mentality, the Patriots kept succeeding because if 3 guys are guarding Rob Gronkowski, 2 other guys are open. And that's how they were able to succeed. But the problem is 2-3 guys guarding Gronk. You throw it to Gronk and he gets hit. He's going to get hit hard. And he got hit hard like that for years and years and years and forced him to early retire. I mean, this guy his career was shorter than Edelman, was shorter than Brady, was shorter than a lot of guys in the NFL, strictly for the fact that injuries plagued him throughout his entire career. And if he's going to go into a business where you have to fall on your back a lot, you have to get hit a lot, despite what people may believe about pro wrestling, these guys get hit. Adam Cole took an air raid crash off the top of a steel cage through 2 tables and then had to wrestle the next day. Like, that's not fake. Like, sure, the table broke his fall, but like, you can't deny the legitimacy of what these guys put their bodies through. Gronk will definitely be on a part-time schedule. They're not gonna kill him. They're not gonna, make him wrestle every night, live events and all that. He will have a couple matches, but I just don't like the idea of him risking his health further. What I think is going to happen, if I had a prediction for all this, I see Gronk tag teaming with Mojo Rawley, his like best friend and all that, for a tag match at SummerSlam. That's what I think happens. I don't think that they're going to propel him to any sort of title reign, because if it's a title reign, then he has to have 20-minute matches, long-form matches. Well, if you're Goldberg, you can win the title in 2 minutes. But, I just don't want to see him in the main event picture. If it's like a showcase match, you remember when Neville teamed with Stephen Amell to take on Stardust and Wade Barrett? That was fun. That was fine. Have him do something like that. But don't make him work a full-time schedule.
Now, funny you say that as well. Now, the other rumors, there's been some rumors that he could be brought in to turn on his best friend Mojo Rawley and have a feud with him to make him the star. That's what many people are saying, like Booker T, for example. He said it as well. So that'll be interesting to see if he does turn on him at WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. Or even tonight on Fox, because apparently he's making his Harley debut tonight on Fox on Friday Night SmackDown at 8 p.m. Eastern, midnight here in the UK on BT Sports 1. The new official UK partner for WWE for 3 months straight. It's different. Anyway, now let's talk to you about then. You mentioned about Crowley and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, of course, was in that FCW documentary. He was actually training there, I believe. I could be wrong. Maybe 2007 or 2009. I want to say so around them in FCW days before NXT was a thing. So he's been training for many years, and of course you're from Boston. So I bet your hometown guy is, of course, the great John Cena, as Mario Cole says, the greatest of all time. Again, that's debatable between fans because not everybody likes John Cena, of course, and not everyone's going to say John Cena is the greatest of all time. People might say The Rock is, or Stone Cold, Steve Austin is. But again, that's debatable. But I bet, because you're in Boston, you're a John Cena guy.
Yeah, man, I love John Cena. I went through, it was weird. I had like a maturity phase with wrestling. I started watching in 2011. The first episode of Raw. Yeah. First episode of Raw I ever watched was, do you remember when they had the talent walk out?
Yes.
And like Triple H was in charge?
Yes.
The first episode of Raw I ever watched was Triple H came out, was talking, and then I believe it was Cena came out, then Sheamus, then CM Punk, and then Triple H got relieved of his duties, and then Laurinaitis took over. That was the first episode of Raw I ever watched. And it was a fluke. I was trying to watch the World Series, the baseball championship every year, and I went to the wrong channel.
Oh, wow.
And then I was watching wrestling for like a couple minutes. I was like, wait, this is really interesting. And then I watched the next week, and the next week, and the next week, and then I discovered SmackDown was the thing. And I just got hooked, just like that. John Cena was, obviously I was an 11-year-old kid. John Cena was my favorite. And then I went to my first pay-per-view. I went to Night of Champions 2012, and the main event was John Cena versus CM Punk for the WWE title. I went in with a John Cena t-shirt. Around halfway through the show, I went to the merchandise stand, and I was looking at different shirts, and I bought a CM Punk t-shirt. And then I changed to the CM Punk t-shirt, and then started rooting for CM Punk. And that was kind of when I like shifted from rooting for the faces to like rooting for the heels, like trying to like, you know, see where they're coming from. So CM Punk was my favorite for a little bit. And then when I really started getting behind John Cena again was the US Open Challenge. The US Open Challenge was genius. I loved it. I loved that he went like down to like the mid card and then but really embraced it and all that. And then beyond that, just his feud with AJ Styles was so good because AJ Styles, I'll disclose, my favorite wrestler of all time. I followed him when he was in TNA, when TNA was on Spike TV in the United States. I watched him when he was clean shaven, spiked hair, all that.
Yeah,
all
the good old days. The good old days.
And then that feud with John Cena, I was like, please put him over, John. Please put him over. And then SummerSlam 2016, I was in your time zone. I was in Ireland.
Ireland.
I don't know if it's surprising or not. My name is Liam Crowley, and all my family comes from Ireland, my dad's whole side. So we were in Ireland for August 2016 for essentially the whole month, visiting my cousins and aunts and uncles. And I stayed up. I did what you guys have to do. I stayed up till 3-4 in the morning, your time, to watch SummerSlam 2016 because I wanted AJ to win so bad. And then he won clean. He kicked out of an avalanche attitude adjustment, the one from the top rope. It was so good. And in that moment, I really started to love John Cena again because I was like, okay, he's going to put over younger talent and he's not going to be like selfish anymore. They're not going to pull, what was it, 2010 SummerSlam when Cena beat the Nexus and just like squashed all momentum.
Yeah.
That kind of John Cena was done. And I'll be honest, I really miss him. When he came back on SmackDown and he was cutting that promo about how this might be the end, and I really believe when The Fiend beats him at Mania, the rumor is he's going to be gone for an extended period of time, like 2-3 years. And it's sad. It's my friend said something about you don't know what you have till it's gone with John Cena. And he's a great promo. He's a great presence. Big Match John, as they call him. I always joke and call him Large Wrestling Contest Jonathan, just as synonyms. But he's a great wrestler. He's a great guy, great personality. Make-A-Wish extraordinaire. I'm pretty sure he's granted the most Make-A-Wishes of all time.
Yes, that's the facts, and there's no denying about that.
Yeah, and so I just hope that he'll still make sporadic appearances. I think he's very different from The Rock in the sense that he very much embraces WWE as his home. Not saying The Rock doesn't, but The Rock really was able to go full Hollywood. I think John Cena will always have one foot in the door, one foot out with WWE. I don't think he's ever going to be gone for good. But man, yeah, I definitely miss him, and he's one of my favorites of all time for sure.
Yeah, sorry about that. Now, great story about John Cena from Boston. Good old Boston there, that's how we say it. That's how Michael Cole say it. Boston. We're coming to you live from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yep.
So there we go. I always love doing that in that accent. Anyway, moving on from John Cena. Now, you say that The Rock is different to John Cena. John Cena is different to The Rock. I don't think so. I think they're both the same. And it's going to be interesting to see because John Cena is joining the Fast and Furious franchise. And, of course, apparently Vin Diesel said that there's a 2-part film coming out soon. Again, it was going to come out next year, I think. But it's going to be delayed now for another maybe a few years from now due to what's happening in the world. And you say it could be the last ever Fast and Furious movie of the franchise, which would be fantastic because I think we had too many now, I think. And after The Rock's got his nose in it, I think it's just been carried on a bit too long. I think we need something new and fresh, so I think it's a good way to hang up the Fast and Furious series, I think. But we'll see what happens in a few years' time, if that is really what's going to happen or not. But let's talk about that, because you told me this a few months ago, off air, before you came on the show, and I want you to tell everybody here in the audience, right now, watching live or on demand, why you want to work for All Elite Wrestling after you finish your degree at what's it called officially?
Syracuse University.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, as soon as you finish college, you want to go straight into the world of wrestling. That's going to be quite difficult for you. How is have you been able to get a contact from Chris Van Vliet, the 4-time Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, fellow podcaster / talk show host? Any response from him from when I give you his email or his DMs? I can give you his email.
Yeah, no, I reached out to him. I would appreciate his email. I reached out to him via Instagram and Twitter. He's a busy guy, but a big picture question, what you asked about working for AEW. I've pondered a lot what I really want to do with just my career, with life. I've invested so much time and resources and money and sweat and tears into pursuing a career in broadcast. And often I will think, what do I really want to do? Like, broadcast it's broad. It says it right in the name. It spans many different facets. There's sports, there's news, there's entertainment, there's digital content, there's TV content, there's movie content. It's so vast. And I'll often ask myself, well, what makes me unique? How do I stand out? I'm in a class of on Syracuse, there's over 20,000 students, but in my major specifically, there's around 400 people. That's a lot of people. I make up one. Yeah, I make up 1 out of 400, and that's just one school. There's thousands of schools. What makes me unique? What is my unique voice? What do I bring to the table that no one else does? And I can confidently say, at Syracuse, I am the only one that knows pro wrestling as well as I do. And I've thought over the years, what's the one thing I've never lost interest in? I'm a diehard Boston sports fan, don't get me wrong, but when the Red Sox aren't doing good, it's harder to pay attention as much as I want to. The Patriots have always been good, and the games are only once a week, so it's a lot easier to pay attention. I'm a big movie fan as well. I love film. whether that be the Marvel movies or Oscar movies, Scorsese movies, everything. DiCaprio is one of my favorite actors. I love all types of movies, but I can confidently say I don't think I've gone a week without consuming some sort of pro wrestling content. I don't even know if I can say I've gone a day since 2011 without reading up about something. I've missed Raws and SmackDowns, but I've watched the highlights on YouTube. And just over the years, I've gone from being just a WWE fan to really embracing everything. I'm obsessed with the British indie scene. I've gone back and watched so much Progress, Rev Pro, ICW. So Jimmy Havoc became one of my favorite wrestlers, and I had never watched a match of his live. I had just gone back and watched reruns. Pete Dunne, British Strong Style before they went to NXT UK, stuff like that. And then I just got to thinking, well, if I love wrestling this much, why not try to pursue a career in it? Obviously, I'm not going to become a wrestler. I do not have the body type, the endurance, the mental stability to go out and wrestle, 200 matches a year. I can't. I'm not good enough to do that. But the broadcast side of wrestling is so rich. One of my heroes going today is Mauro Ranallo. He's incredible. His voice is so good, and then beyond that, just on a personal level, his openness about mental health and the fact that he has bipolar disorder and his openness to talk about it and share his stories. There was that documentary released, I want to say it was on Showtime, about Mauro Ranallo and his bipolar disorder. That kind of stuff really inspires me because it shows you don't have to be perfect to get into this world. You just have to have that passion. And there's no denying guys like Mauro, guys like Tom Phillips, guys like Chris Van Vliet, they all have that passion. And so then when you ask about AEW specifically, I would love to work for WWE as well. But I feel like WWE has a certain mold, a certain criteria you have to fit. And if they could take me for me and use my skill set, by all means, I would love to do broadcast work with them. But AEW, I really dig this talent first mentality, how they let guys run free with not only like their gimmicks, but guys on commentary are free to do what they do. Excalibur, even though I'm not the biggest fan of his, he hasn't changed his. He hasn't. What's up?
I think we can agree that we both not big fans of Excalibur on AEW.
But what I can respect is that he hasn't changed his style. He still wears the mask on commentary.
Why?
He still has
there's no need.
It's silly. I get it, but the fact that he was able to continue doing what he's always done is very admirable. Cody Rhodes, another one of my heroes going today. I love the idea of sticking up for what you believe in, and the fact that in 2016 he so boldly requested his release from WWE. 2016, the wrestling landscape was very different. He did not know if he left, if he was going to be working in 6 months. Credit, he had a big name, but would he just be doing random house shows for indie events across the United States? No, he was obsessed. He was determined. He went on to companies like Impact, New Japan, What Culture Pro Wrestling. If you remember.
Yeah, I watched that live in person. Champion. In my hometown, just 25-minute walk from my house at the ice rink at the Silver Blaze Arena, back when it was called that. Not that anymore. We named it, but I thought it was called the Silver Blaze Arena, where we had Jim Cornette, Bret Hart, Melina, all in their house with Pete Dunne as well, and Martin Kirby.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And so the fact that he was able to be so determined to find his own niche and make his own thing, that eventually after 4 years of hard work, they were able to launch AEW. That's incredible to me. And so 4 years of hard work to launch AEW, I'm in college for 4 years. So I know that if I'm determined enough to get, like, what does Chris Van Vliet say? Vague goals get vague results. If I have a concrete goal, I think I can reach that eventually. I've reached out to people involved with AEW behind the scenes on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah,
trying to see if there's any internship opportunities. I always get the same response because they're just starting up. They're a new company. They're not trying to hire a bunch of people. But where I see them around the time when I'm graduating, which will be in 2 years, I think that there's a real opportunity to work as a backstage interviewer, a commentator, a ringside reporter, whatever it may be, digital reporter, just helping them with social media, doing shows like Jen Sturger or Jen Decker, whichever name she uses on TV. But she is a big personality with the movie Trivia Schmodown. If you're familiar, I'm not sure if you're familiar.
No.
It's a movie trivia league on YouTube.
Okay.
Long story short, I've gone to some of their events in the United States, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Jennifer. And the fact that she was able to, transition from a small YouTube show that eventually grew big to getting a gig with AEW, it's incredible. It's super admirable. So I do believe with enough determination and concreteness of goals that I could get to be there one day. Do I know if it's going to happen? No. But at the end of the day, I know how passionate I am. I know how determined I am, and I know that I have a resume that speaks for itself. So hopefully down the line, we will see me doing some sort of media content in the world of pro wrestling, and I'm very excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, and imagine you actually do work for AEW or Elite Wrestling, for example, or WWE, or any other company which is on TV in this country. I can then say that you've been on my show, and I want to address something else before we get into the questions which we got in. Thanks to who did send your questions into both myself and Liam. We will get to them. We're going to ask every question to Liam in a minute. So that's what we do on the Fowler show. We don't ask a few. If you got a question, we will tell them all to him, because we don't go away. We don't care. I don't care, because there's nobody telling you what to do and what. Oh, you can't say that word. You can't say that question. It's going against our qualities and whatever else. They got their own business. Anyway, is this your first appearance on any podcast before? Is this like your 5th or 10th?
No, this is my first. When you asked me to come on, I was very honored, because it made me feel like everything I've been doing the past couple years, trying to make a name for myself in this media industry. It feels like it's somewhat paying off. So this is my first, hopefully first of many. So yes, if I do go on to do many guest appearances, I can say that the Edward Fowler show was my first ever.
There we go. I like it. And again, when you get hired to any media company in 2 years' time, you have to come on this show to tell us all about it, how it all came about. So we will see you in 2 years' time. And for everyone who's watching this on demand and listening to this, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Liam T. Crowley. I tweet all the time. I tweet my content. I tweet about things I'm passionate about: pro wrestling, music, movies, sports, the whole 9 yards. And then on Instagram at Liam Crowley 714.
There you go. Both on your screen right now. What does the T stand for in Liam T. Crowley?
It stands for Tig, which is my middle name. You're probably familiar with that name. Tig?
Yes.
Yes. It's Gaelic. It's Irish. No one from home understands it. Everyone, Tig, how do you spell that? And I say TADHG, and they say that doesn't make phonetic sense. How do you get those letters to sound like that?
Yeah.
And I say it's Gaelic. It's an old name. It's my father's name. So yeah, that's the origin of the middle initial T in my name.
Okay, apologies for that. We just pressed the wrong button. Again, here, I'm trying to show something else. I just played the intro again, so apologies for that. We are the Fowler show. Oh, my word. Oh, I'm going to be sacked. Okay, so we got some questions coming in. Of course, you've seen these questions on Twitter because you responded to this question. How well do you know Landon Wexler? Before we get to this question, how well you know him?
Yeah, no, Landon's one of my best friends, I'll say. I only knew him a short time because he was a senior when I was a freshman. So I worked with him for essentially all of 2019. But man, love that guy. He is incredible. He is a broadcaster. He is actually a digital reporter for CBS 42 in Alabama, which is a great gig. The Alabama market is fantastic for broadcast. Even though, he's in Alabama, I'm in Boston, I study in New York. When will I see him again? I'm not sure. He's originally from LA, but Landon's one of those guys where I know no matter when we reconnect again, whether that be a couple months, a couple years, a decade down the line, we'll be able to resume, conversation just like that. He's one of the most genuine, nice guys I've ever met, and I don't think I would have as much on-air confidence as I do without his guidance. He really helped me find my voice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And by the way, I'm just watching this on my mobile, and I can actually see that it's actually sharing. I don't know how I've set this up, but it's now sharing the little window of you, so that they can still see you on camera. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, I don't know how big you can see the screen, but. The question is, Landon Wexler has a question. He wants to know, can you explain the process you go through to get your hair looking that good? So the question is then, how do you?
Okay, well, if you'll indulge me, I do have a process I go through. So when I wake up, I go to shower. I'm a morning shower person because if I shower at night, no matter what happens, no matter how well I shower, I always get bedhead in the morning. So I shower in the morning. I alternate days between shampooing. Don't shampoo every day. It's bad for the hair. It makes it bristly. It doesn't make it as soft as it should be. But on an alternate day, when I don't shampoo, I will use conditioner, volume-induced conditioner, which is a conditioner I use every day. Tresemme Volume. I think that's what it's called. Get out of the shower, do a brief towel dry, so just kind of mess up the hair a little bit, keep it somewhat still damp, then put the product in. I use a L'Oreal Paris putty, put the product in, comb it into place, spray some hairspray on it so it hardens. Then I wait for 30 to 45 minutes, just go about my day, kind of looking like James Bond with my hair all slicked back and kind of weird. But then after those 30 to 45 minutes, run my fingers through it, mess it all up. But what I did was I kind of got the product no longer hardened, but it's spread out. So then it looks all poofy and, I don't know, Hollywoody and all that. And then I go about my day. And then if I'm going on air later in the day, I'll put some more product in so it gives it some more hold. But yeah, I've gone through many different processes with how I do my hair, and that's the one over the years I've found the most success with. So to answer your question, Landon, that is how I go about my daily hair